so far as to say that most people live their entire lives never having personally known another human possessing a thimbleful of this elusive quality. Generals, congressmen, prime ministers, presidents, kings sometimes lack it. Often mere actors portraying historical characters capture more of this indefinable impressiveness than those we assume they model. Certainly, Washington, Lincoln, Churchill, JFK, and Reagan had it, but exactly what it is can be hard to pin down. At least we can say such men stand out from the crowd for soul qualities beyond simple intelligence or cleverness. I believe it springs from an unassailable integrity welded to self-control that tends to make these individuals the same alone as in public. Short on guile, their word is their bond. Old-fashioned as it sounds, these are people who, despite superficial flaws, act in reference to a steady moral gyroscope. On a deep level, they know better than to mock words like truth or justice. It can be scary to live close to one of these often war-tested males who can pin you to the wall with a look. You might not always like them, but you can't not respect them. In my dad's case, mix one part each of Errol Flynn, John Wayne, and Yul Brynner. Gifted with tremendous will, he had a determination that could ignore pain. I never heard him whimper, nor did the colonel ever abandon that steely sense of right and wrong regarding essentials. Once, when I was 20 and failed to show up for my part-time job flipping hamburgers, when Dad heard about it, his rebuke included the amazing demand that next time I couldn't be there, I was to call him so that he could take my place. On the other hand, in those days, he also told me flat out that if I was ever guilty of a capital crime, he would pull the switch himself. I never doubted either commitment. But neither was he moralistic, some snooty paragon of virtue. His boundaries were wide enough to allow disarmingly free style. For example, rather than set up my rebel nature for a future hankering toward alcohol as forbidden fruit, he always invited me, at age 9 or so, to take a sip of his VO and water held behind his back as if no one would see. If that was reverse psychology, it worked. That vice never attracted me. Although this command pilot preferred to be thought of as the strong, silent type, that often gruff exterior was more a military uniform worn over the deeper man, the gentle and good-humored character you are about to meet in his writing. Likewise, whatever the momentary role, in social relations he displayed a genius for the common touch. Instinctively knowing that our inhabiting a body while giving potential for tragedy also yields comic scenarios, his sense of humor gravitated toward less polite absurdities of our physical makeup. He understood firsthand, for instance, that our digestive tracts produce a flammable gas. Unfortunately or not, his book shows admirable restraint in this area. His day-to-day speech, too, was uniquely colorful. Some favorite phrases like "a cloud of dust and a blaze of glory" appear in his story. But, citing others, men tended to be either characters or jokers, while women were frails. "Oh, very well," signified stoic acceptance of harsh fate. A beautiful day for flying was always severe clear. He addressed preachers as Doc. If he saw some joker driving recklessly, he'd invariably say, "Go, fool, hell's not half full." Or if he noticed a person who was, let's say, aesthetically challenged, he'd be sure to say, "Look at the head on that." Not that he was ever overtly cruel to anyone. This was the same man who hated to see a wounded quail suffer needlessly. Without apparent emotions, he'd simply pop off their heads. And a sizzling steak was sure to be proffered with "grab it and growl." So, apart from essentials, his ethics were common-sense practical. As you will learn throughout his tale, he wasn't above playing the system as it presented itself, as when he utilized a C-133 on a legitimate mission to move his little Henry J. Auto from California to his next duty station in Minnesota. Or recall his wartime runabout, the stripped-down Thunderbolt dashing between London and Brussels. Or during the Berlin airlift, his admiration for his sidekick Sid Park's creative requisitioning of military supplies. But he never played politics in the sense of pandering to others, whether above or below his rank, not even in navigating the ego-infested water.